So Christian Bale's known for a few things in Hollywood, being an award-winning actor, super dedicated to his craft, doing press interviews with that fake American accent of his for some reason.
In my mind, the Batman creature should not be in rubber.
A career that spanned decades, starting off working with Steven Spielberg to long-running collaborations with Christopher Nolan and David O. Russell. But I feel like there's something I'm missing. What else is Christian Bale known for?
And what the f*** is it with you? What don't you f***ing understand? Give me a f***ing answer! You do it one more f***ing time, and I ain't walking on this set if you're still hired. F***'s sake, man, you're amateur. Seriously, man, you and me, we're f***ing done professionally.
Ah yes. Ever since the audio was leaked of Christian Bale losing his shit on a crew member, it's become a cultural touchstone of a generation. It's had the remix treatment.
It's f***ing distracting! Oh, good!
It achieved Family Guy cutaway status.
I want to walk around some more, but I want to do it while the scene's going.
You're unbelievable, man.
And it's the perfect thing to reference when you and someone else are done professionally. For me, I'm always fascinated by rants like these. I mean, I've been known to have a temper at times.
Take that goddamn input so I can f***ing do the rest of the goddamn god.
So, what happened here? Who are the people involved? And is C. Bale's anger justified? Or is he truly... So, where are we? When are we? We gotta go all the way back to July 18th, 2008. We're on the set of Terminator Salvation, which is in the final days of principal photography after a grueling 77-day shoot. But who are the players in this little radio play? Well, there are 4 distinct voices you can hear on the recording. Christian Bale, actor. Bruce Franklin, assistant director and associate producer. McG, director of the film. And finally, Shane Hurlbut, director of photography, aka cinematographer. The audio starts off with the rant already in progress.
Kick your f***ing ass! I want you off the f***ing set, you prick!
Assistant director and producer Bruce Franklin tries to calm Bale down, but he won't be denied, and asserts the thesis of his manifesto.
What don't you f***ing understand? You got any f***ing idea about, hey, it's f***ing distracting having somebody walking up behind Bryce in the middle of the f***ing scene?
He implores Hurlbut to answer for his indiscretions.
Give me a f***ing answer!
Shane, for his part, provides the thinnest of defenses as a cinematographer, whose sole purpose it is to control the cameras that are recording the image and the lighting that paints it.
I was looking at the light.
Yeah, that response doesn't sit super well with C. Bale, who channels Matthew Perry for a deliciously sarcastic,
Oh, good for you!
It's from here that Bale looks to his director for support, Jimmy McG McGinty. That's right, the venerable director of Charlie's Angels, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, and every 90s music video ever. This man was the personal muse for Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath, and single-handedly convinced him to record the song Fly, which means that with just the power of his voice, he was able to change the course of mediocre music history forever. Now, as director, he is the sheriff of these parts, goddammit, and he's not gonna put up for this shit when he sees it.
I didn't see it happen.
Oh, for the love of f***. From here, Bale pleads with McG to discipline Hurlbut, citing just how distracting his behavior is.
Do you understand my mind is not in the scene if you're doing that?
Hurlbut apologizes, but somebody tries to get Bale to calm down, which is a lot like trying to throw water on a grease fire.
Let's not take a f***ing minute. Let's go again! And let's not have you f***ing walking in!
In an almost perfect refrain of the fight we just heard, Bale reiterates his point that getting up and walking around during takes is not done, and anybody who's been a professional on a movie set before should know that.
You don't f***ing understand what it's like working with actors. That's what that is. That's what that is, man. I'm telling you. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. You wouldn't have done that otherwise.
Shane takes the advice in stride and accepts it for the nugget of wisdom that it is, and the two begin to open up a calm dialogue where they come to an understanding. I'm just messing with you. Shane says the dumbest thing possible.
No, what it is looking at the light and making sure that you are...
Yeah, that was a bad call, Shane.
I'm gonna f***ing kick your f***ing ass. You don't shut up for a second.
It's from here that Bale seemingly lunges at Hurlbut, has to be restrained, and lays down his ultimatum. It's either him or me.
You do it one more f***ing time, and I ain't walking on this set if you're still hired.
Bruce Franklin continues trying to calm down Bale, and it seems to work this time, as his fiery yell turns into more of a sarcastic seethe.
Walk for 5 seconds.
No, I don't need any fucking walking. He needs to stop walking. I get that. I ain't the one walking.
He then brings the house down with his finisher.
Man, you and me, we're fucking done professionally.
And finally ends it with the poetic epithet of
Fucking ass.
And in less than 4 minutes, the moment had come and gone. Break was taken, everyone got back to work, and production resumed. All water was safely under the bridge. But of course, it wouldn't be that simple. Fast forward to February 2009. The audio would find its way into the hands of TMZ, and within hours of its release would come to dominate the media cycle in a way no one could have expected.
You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen. You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen.
Traditional media outlets like BBC and CNN ran with the story immediately, as did entertainment blogs like Perez Hilton. And as with most media meltdowns, you could tell within the first 24 hours that the story would not be going away. It's just too good. In a way, Bale really gives one of his best performances here, and the fact that there's no visuals meant that everyone who heard it was free to imagine the context, and in the content is king late aughts, plenty of people filled in those gaps. There were reenactments.
Are you walking right through? Da-da-da-da, like this in the background. What the is it with you?
You and I are done professionally. Well, we've never actually worked together, and I don't believe we will. That's
It's our public duty to provide a visual reenactment, and our reenactment stars none other than the Dean Emeritus of the Actors Studio at Pace University and the host of Bravo's Inside the Actors Studio, Mr. James Lipton.
Don't just be sorry. Think for 1 second. You and me, we're done professionally.
There were parodies.
It's fucking distracting having somebody walking up behind Bryce in the middle of the fucking scene. Stay off the fucking set, man. For fuck's sake. Right, let's go again.
And most importantly, there were remixes, which really highlighted the lyrical quality of the rant.
What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass.
Beyond the obvious entertainment value of a man losing his shit while trying to maintain his American accent, there's just something special about this rant that became apparent the moment that it hit the internet. That is, Bale's rant is simultaneously polarizing, but also intrinsically relatable regardless of whose side you're on. Initially, people heard the fire in Bale's voice, the meekness of Hurlbut and others on set, and could connect that to a time that they had been unjustly yelled at, especially by somebody who ostensibly held all the power in the situation. Just listen to how Bale is able to tell Bruce Franklin to shut the fuck up without any repercussions.
No, shut the fuck up, Bruce. Do I want? No! No!
It's giving Bill O'Reilly, but as the days went on, an alternative sentiment would begin to develop, which brings us to part 3.
You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen. You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen.
Whether it was damage control on behalf of Bale's publicist or a genuine outpouring of support, in the days that followed the leak of the audio, several people came to Bale's defense. Firstly was one of the participants in the rant itself, Bruce Franklin, who chose to highlight the intense and intimate nature of the scene as the reason for Bale flying off the handle.
If you're working in a very intense scene and someone takes you out of your groove, it was the most emotional scene in the movie. And for him to get stopped in the middle of it, he's very intensely involved in his character. He didn't walk around like that all day long. It was just a moment and it passed.
Fellow crew members who spoke anonymously went further in their defense of Bale.
It was justified. It was warranted. For him to be broken out of that scene at that moment was really, really frustrating. In a way, it's disrespectful.
His fellow cast members also stood up for him.
When you're filming a really intense scene, I mean, and the weather is crazy and you haven't slept in 48 hours, I mean, like, people are raw.
As a person, he's a consummate professional, completely dedicated to his craft. Doesn't give a about the bells and whistles of being, famous and all that bull dust.
And in probably the strangest turn of events, Bale would get a passionate defense from one of the internet's most famous Hollywood gossip hounds, Harry Knowles of Ain't It Cool News.
You want to hear the reality behind that clip? The DP on Terminator Salvation, Shane Hurlbut, is apparently a light tweaker.
Oh, snap. Shots fired.
He's a fairly young DP and likes to fiddle with his lights on set during action, which is a big no-no on most productions unless worked out in advance with performers. But apparently, Shane was a pretty unrepentant light tweaker.
Other crew would anonymously confirm this behavior as well.
It was a very emotional scene. We cleared everyone out of their sightline, and Shane was the only one there. And he was wandering back and forth between Bryce and Christian's eye line. On our show, Bale was very mild-mannered, very quiet. I only heard him get upset twice, and both times was at Shane.
So on the one hand, Bale is being loud and belligerent. On the other hand, it sounds like Bale's trying to method act himself into an emotional state, and Shane's production faux pas broke him out of that several times. I don't know. I feel like it's worth trying to find this scene. So what do we know? In the audio itself, we can hear the complaint from Bale that Hurlbut is walking behind Bryce Dallas Howard in the scene. And we know that it's a very emotional scene just between Bryce Dallas Howard and Christian Bale. Well, how many of those scenes are there in the movie? Turns out, not that many. There are a total of 2 scenes that have just Bryce Dallas Howard and Christian Bale in them, and only one where they share an eye line. That's right, bitches. I found the scene. It's 67 minutes into the film. Read it and weep. So here's the shot of Christian Bale, standard close-up. Let's look at the reverse angle so we can see what Bale would have been looking at for his takes. And what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
That I can't help you with. And when you're unsure.
Is that?
Enhance.
There, freeze that. Now vector in on that guy by the back wheel. Alright, lock on and enlarge the Z-axis.
Is that light just fucking with itself? For what reason on a military base would a yellow light just be oscillating back and forth like that? Shane. In the diegetic reality of the post-apocalyptic wasteland after Judgment Day, when the military has been reduced to nothing more than an ad hoc resistance, why, in the blue fuck, would this light just be oscillating back and forth like that? Prior to this, I was trying to play coy, but I'm sorry. If this is what you were getting up to, if this shit is what you were bringing creatively to the table, then I'd have threatened to quit too. Can you imagine seeing Shane just wiggling a light back and forth for no reason? Like imagine it, you're Bale, you're all keyed up and you got body armor and a machine gun on, you're talking about a supercomputer that's gonna kill your time-traveling father, and then out of the corner of your eye, you see some dude in a White Sox cap that's wiggling a light to and fro. In the aftermath of the audio leaking, Christian Bale put on a masterclass in apologizing, managing to sound contrite and humble, and take the shots in stride and even say that they were well-deserved. The soft-spoken and jolly nature he'd convey in an interview with K-Rock's Kevin and Bean would largely paint him as a tragic figure, someone who had lost their temper as we all do sometimes, but who was regretful and humiliated over it.
I have no confusion whatsoever. I was out of order beyond belief. I was way out of order.
And someone who could accept the humor of the situation.
I know I have a potty mouth. Everybody knows that now.
Right.
But I understand this is live, so please don't worry. I will behave.
Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate if you
that.
don't, we are done professionally, Christian.
Initially, the media was primed to color this as a long-time anger management issue from Bale. After all, just days prior to this, he had been arrested for a domestic dispute between himself, his mother, and his sister. But the absolute mea culpa of this interview went a long way to change the media narrative. The comedic tone of the parodies also softened the whole episode greatly, and the anger comes off more performative than truly violent by the end. I mean, yeah, when you put all the really nasty stuff together like I did at the top of the video, it's bad, but how are you really going to be scared of somebody who's going around yelling, like, I mean, you can't. In the years that have followed, Christian Bale's career has been largely unhindered by this moment. While Terminator floundered at the box office, Bale would go on to win an Oscar and even greater critical acclaim by teaming with David O. Russell on The Fighter. Further hits like Vice and American Hustle have added to his legacy, and it's safe to say the guy's doing just fine. Shane, Hurlbut, and McG each came out of the debacle relatively unscathed, and it's worth noting that according to Bruce Franklin, McG, and Bale, the actor and DP actually patched things up and continued to work together for several hours on set after this. Although it's also worth noting that Bale would be true to his word that he and Hurlbut were done professionally, choosing never to work with the DP or McG ever again. He would instead go on to form a lasting collaboration with David O. Russell, who has a squeaky clean reputation of getting along with folks on set.
You. I'm just trying to f***ing help you. Do you understand me? Hey, bitch. I worked on this f***ing thing for 3 f***ing years. Not to have some f***ing yell at me.
You're gonna learn a lesson
biggest mystery that's gone unsolved is how the audio went public in the first place. And of course, TMZ has been exceptionally coy as to how they got the audio. So the way I see it, there are a few possible suspects who could have released the audio. There's the insurance company that had the audio, the studio who was distributing the film, in this case Warner Brothers, or the production company for the film, this company called Halcyon. Now, strap in for the most tinfoil laden of conspiracies, but I got a theory. You see, tensions were starting to mount between the production company and its star, as the film had actually been hit with a bunch of setbacks during production. Bale wanted Dark Knight writer Jonathan Nolan to come on to do rewrites for the film, and he was, but then had to quit abruptly, much to Bale's chagrin. The script that they had been working on saw its ending leaked to the internet mid-shooting, and studio Warner Brothers was deeply embarrassed to the point of a radical rewrite, meaning reshoots were a must and the ending was now in limbo. Not to mention, Bale didn't have the greatest confidence in McGee as a director prior to accepting the role. What if Bale starts to get cold feet about being the face of the Terminator franchise and decides to quit the project? If you're Studio Warner Brothers, you're not super worried. You've made millions of dollars with Bale as the face of your Batman franchise, and you can probably work things out. And if he does decide to quit and you need to shelve the project for a few months or a year to recast it, well, you can take that hit, no hard feelings. But if you're Halcyon, well, you have a very different perspective. The Terminator franchise was an investment for these guys. They had to take out loans to get it, big ass loans. If Bale decides to quit the project and it gets shelved for several months, you're in a very different financial position. So you have a huge incentive to keep Bale onto the project and to keep it releasing on time. So let's say Halcyon leaks the audio. Now Bale is put on the back foot. If he quits at this point, he's seen as a prima donna who tries to get crew members fired only to then quit himself. Leaking the audio now actually ensures that Bale doesn't quit and stays on until release to promote the film. Now, this is all speculation, and I don't mean to accuse anyone. Anybody who had access to that audio could have leaked it, because after all,
some men just want to watch the world burn.
But I do think it's curious that Halcyon filed for bankruptcy almost immediately after the release of the film, then, in bankruptcy, sold the rights to the franchise back to their creditors, who, by the way, they had previously accused of bribery and extortion. So, you know, there's that.
You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen. You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen.
But let's get back to the original question. Is Christian Bale unhinged? On the day? I'd say he was, at least for those 4 minutes or so, but his complaint was and is valid. Director of photography Shane Hurlbut was behaving unprofessionally. I mean, the whole reason the production is there is to film a scene between these two actors, and everything else is in service of that goal. So maybe now is not the time to be light tweaking. And as you can hear from the audio, Hurlbut knows he's in the wrong. And while the way that Bale handled it was a little childish, this is a guy whose first movie was with Steven freaking Spielberg. His original scene partners were John Malkovich and Joey Pants. I mean, come on, Shane, you gotta bring your A game. Finally, I think it's worth remembering something that Craig Ferguson said.
Remember when they had that thing where they released the tapes of him being all angry on a film set?
Yeah.
And he got in trouble, and I went mad. I was like, you pay this guy to be unstable and crazy, right? And then when he's unstable and crazy, you go, oh, that's disgraceful. I mean, you pay him to be unstable and crazy.
From my research, Bale really does seem like a quiet guy who likes to get lost in these roles that allows him to tap into parts of himself that he doesn't really want to be like in real life. So while I don't think that fully excuses his behavior, I don't think it's indicative of how he is all the time. So you know what? I'm going to amend my previous statement. Christian Bale, not unhinged. On the other hand, Shane Hurlbut's lighting choices, fucking unhinged AF.
You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen. You're gonna learn a lesson in this delicatessen.
So what do you think? Agree or disagree? Leave a comment below with your take, or with any suggestions for future Unhinged episodes. Like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell button, and try and do all 3 of those in rapid succession without even thinking about it. Try and get it under 2 seconds. I bet you can't.